I already put it away.
You did? Okay, cool. And then Davion, did you put your phone away or are you using your phone?
I'm using it for the Zoom, and then I'm on the computer.
Okay, word. Perfect. How you guys doing? How was your weekend?
It was boring.
Asked.
Nervous.
It was good. I went camping.
Oh, hell yeah. Where'd you go?
I went up to Joshua Tree.
Oh, nice.
Oh wow.
Did you go with
Is
like a group of
all the
people? Or did
campsite open? National parks?
Yep.
Okay.
My buddy has a house that's like super close to there, so
That's cool. I
How
haven't.
is it up there right now? It was super hot when like a week ago, right?
oh, the weather was beautiful this weekend.
Oh yeah.
It's just weird when as soon as you go outside of LA, you notice that people don't wear masks. And like the outside LA area is really weird, like a totally different.
I went to a birthday party near, I guess it was in Orange County somewhere. And like, I'm not from California, so I don't remember where it was, but it was like an hour away from LA. And I went to a birthday party and it was like a bunch, and like the whole thing was, the invitation was like, here are all the precautions that we're going to take, blah, blah, blah. Like, and I was like, oh, like, I don't want to go to a birthday party if everybody's going to have, so stuck up about it. And then I got there and nobody was wearing their mask and everybody was just like all over each other. And I was like, yeah, so,
Andy,
when the
as
protest
soon as you
started,
come in,
later, so.
can you put your name on the chat and then show your phone and then take it outside your room? Okay, Hugo as well, right? Put your name on the chat. Okay.
Thanks, guys.
And then put your phone. Okay, if you're not using your phone as for Zoom, put your phone outside. Take it outside of the room.
I got Andy and I got Hugo. And you guys are putting your phones away?
So, Stasia, are you responsible for taking enrollment or taking attendance?
Yeah, so I just, I have this sheet and it just says whether like tardy, name and chat, phone away, and then focus, MVP points,
Okay.
breaks, assists.
Sweet. Oh, everything is done for me over here.
Yeah, I got you.
Great. Okay, I should be starting here, but I want to wait until all. How many do we have here? About 15, right? 12 to 15. Let me just check.
I think last, like for orientation, only 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 people showed up for Black Falcons at orientation.
Okay.
So I'm like a huge fan of seltzer, which I don't know. I don't really see a lot of people in California drinking it, but like everybody in New York drinks seltzer. So like I got this seltzer from, I don't know, maybe Target, but it's this new brand and it's seltzer, but they put caffeine in it. So I'm like shaking and cracked out right now. Don't mind me. It's just caffeinated water.
If you ever want to try something that's really strong on caffeine, you should try a Vietnamese coffee. So
It's coffee.
I'm serious. it will wake you
Yeah,
up.
it's pretty strong.
Yeah, one
It's
from like
sweet,
Lee's
though.
Coffee probably would be the easiest way to start.
Yeah, it's sweeter though. It balances it out with sweet, but it's got a lot of caffeine.
It's super strong.
It's good. Yeah, I'm not Vietnamese, but I have a lot of those before.
I've had enough Vietnamese coffees to become Vietnamese.
Denver, your audio kind of breaks up. So I don't know if it's me, maybe.
Can you hear me more clearly now?
A little bit, yeah. So when you talk
Memory.
longer in, longer period, it kind of breaks up in the middle.
I need to get like a new microphone. So unfortunately, I'm stuck with this one for today, but I'll try to get a better one in a few days here.
All right.
Jacob Martinez just messaged me on Pronto, and he said, how do we get on the Zoom meeting? So should I tell him to go through Canvas, or should I just give him the meeting ID?
You could give him the meeting ID. It's up to you. You could go, I think it's better to actually tell him to go through Canvas, because then he will know exactly where to find it.
Okay. So I was thinking, I'll tell him that.
And I had a student who messaged me this morning, Destiny Ochoa. Okay. She says she's not able to meet at 10 a.m. So she would likely be joining us at 12 to 12:50 meeting.
I don't think she was at orientation.
Destiny Ochoa. She wasn't at the orientation. So if she's not at the,
Oh wait, I actually don't even have her on my roster.
okay.
I can put her in right now.
She says she's not able to meet due to work this morning. She doesn't want to get kicked out. Yeah, so she's planning to meet us at 12 to 12:50. Okay. Okay. So far, so good. Okay. How's everyone doing? Okay, people are slowly showing up. Okay. Good morning, Alex. Can you put your name on the chat? Okay, and then also, can you show your phone and then just put it outside the room so that you're not using your phone, right? Outside, if you can. Alex, right? Take it outside the room. Yeah, it's the rule here. Hey, Jacob?
No, I'm gonna take it right now. I got it.
Okay.
Alex, please.
Jacob, name on the chat.
Yeah.
Your first and last name, and then put your phone outside the room, please. And Andy, can I see your face? Possible? Okay. Is Andy there?
I think he walked away.
Okay.
Hey, Alex,
All right.
can you put your name in the chat real quick?
Yeah.
Okay, we'll wait another 3 more minutes, and then we'll get on with the lecture portion of it. Okay, hopefully you guys went through the module number 1. Okay, you guys all went through your module number 1? Okay.
Yes.
So we'll cover the overview. Good morning, everyone. We'll cover the overview of what the class is going to be, and then I'll take any question you have, right, on your module number 1. Okay, of course, your first day meeting, right, is going to be a little bit, all these technicalities that we want to actually, kind of fine tune. Okay.
Hey, real quick, I don't have Sarah on my roster, so I just want to make sure, like, Sarah, if you are in the
Sarah, last name?
Sarah Para, sorry.
Yeah, I'm actually not a part of this group. I just had a question. It's because I'm part of the Teal Castrels or whatever, and I'm not able to make the mandatory meeting for my group. So I was wondering if it's okay if I like went to a different group's mandatory meeting in exchange for mine, because I have work later and I'm not going to be able to make it.
Is this gonna be is it just gonna be a one-time thing, or is it gonna
Well, yeah,
be?
because they already sent out the schedule and everything, and like you guys only gave us like a weekend heads up of like what the schedule was, and I wasn't able to like find a replacement for my shift today.
I think we could accommodate you for just for today, but this could be only like a one-time thing, right? You have to be meeting with the your instructor, okay, at the mandatory meeting, okay?
Okay,
far, so
because
good?
you are my instructor.
Oh, I am at 2 o'clock.
It says Paul Yee and then Alex as my trainer, but I have a meeting at 3.
So are you signed up for a 2 o'clock? When is your usual mandatory meeting?
It says today at 3 from like at 3 to 3:50.
Okay, so you're in my 2 o'clock class. Yeah, Sarah. Okay, yeah, that's fine. Okay, so if this is just a one-time thing, that's fine. Okay. All right. Okay, everybody. So Sarah, then did you put your name in the chat?
I'll do that right now.
Okay.
And then just
So,
take your phone and put it away so I can mark that you
put
did
it
that.
outside so you know that you're not using your phone, getting distracted while we're actually lecturing. And I'll let Alex know later that Sarah attended this earlier morning session. So you don't have to worry about that, Stasia. All right. Okay. Good morning, everyone. I am the instructor for this course. Denver Brown and Stasia Freeland will be the trainer that will be helping you along throughout this course. Okay. I'll be basically like a coach, right? I'll be instructing and giving you the overview, right? And then you, with your trainer, will be working through the course material. Okay. First 15 minutes, I'll cover the overview of what we'll be doing, and then you'll be moving on with your trainers to actually figure out all the questions that you have on those modules or whatever work that you need to do. Okay, so far so good. Okay, this is my first time actually teaching this sim program, so bear with me, right? But I taught many statistic class before. I know the material, just that I do not know how to actually teach it in this sort of way. This is untraditional fashion, so it's not a traditional fashion, so I'm just getting used to. So please, if I mess up or goof off, please bear with me, right? Give me some leeway, just like I would do with you guys. Okay. All right. So my iPad, I use my iPad to write things down, right? So I have my 2 things open, but when I don't have my cam for my computer, so that's why you see this Paul E2. It does not have the cam, but if I actually change my applications, from Zoom meeting to say, you know, I want to open up this unit number 1, module 1 through 5 right here. If I could share, sorry, I'm sharing the screen, right? And I share my broadcasting. And then I switch from one right? Start broadcasting. This is what you will commonly see, right? But when I actually switch from one application to another application, it turns off my iPad, turns off the cam. So you will not see me during the time, but you will continuously hear me, right? So if you have any question, unmute your mic and then, you know, ask questions, okay? Okay. Okay, yeah, okay. So yeah, let Stasia know, right? If you need to take a quick break, you need to step outside for a little bit, yeah, just let her know, right? Okay, so far so good? All right, without further ado, let's actually go through. Oh, before going through the module or going through the questions and whatnot, right? Okay, what is statistic, basically? And you could unmute your mic, right? What is statistic? Anyone know kind of the general? And you guys all deal with, so you guys are student athletes, right? So you guys deal quite a bit with statistics, right? What is statistic?
Like data or percentages and all that.
It is, right? That's part of statistics, right? Anyone else who want to take a guess? You guys went through module, right? What did they say? Statistics or data is what?
It's collecting, organizing, or presenting data.
Right, information, right? So we want to figure out, right? Data, right? Data is information, statistic is data, right? And specifically, the specific definition of stats, right, is what we call a sample data and organization of sample data, okay? To represent a population, what we call the parameter, okay? So far, so good?
Yeah.
So what we need to do in order for us to actually say suppose that we want to actually figure out the average height of Cerritos College students, right? What do we need to do?
Gather up all the students
Excuse me?
at the school.
Yeah, you want to
gather up all
measure
the
every
students in
single
school.
student who's attending the school, right? And then gather their information, right? Okay, so what will be your observational unit in this case? If you guys ran through the module number 1, what will be the observational unit?
The students.
Students, right? So Cerritos College student. What will be the variable in this case?
The height.
What are we measuring?
How tall they are.
Yeah, the height, right? So therefore, that will represent the variable, right? Okay, anyone know? So let me go a little bit deeper into this, right? What kind of variable is that? The type of variable. So you have 2 types of variable. You could have what?
Continuous.
Oh, before we get
Categorical
into
and
continuous
numerical.
and discrete, what type of variable do we have?
Categorical and numerical.
Very good, categorical and numerical. So the height in this case represents what?
Numerical.
Categorical or numerical?
Numerical.
Numerical, very good. Okay, and then in the numerical, right, is height represents what we call the continuous or discrete.
Continuous.
Continuous. Continuous is a number that are in the range. So all measurement like height, weight, and so forth, those are considered to be continuous, right? Discretes are what we call finite countable, right? So if you have a number of babies, right, and want to figure out the number of babies that you could have, right, or say a puppy could have, or a dog could have, right, then those are what we call a countable or discrete number, right, or discrete numerical. Okay, so far so good. So basic idea here is that what we're trying to do in the statistic is to actually, we want to say figure out the average height of Cerritos College students, right? Okay, so in order for us to actually figure out the exact average height of Cerritos College student, we have to measure every single Cerritos College student, right? And then gather all the data, and then figure out the number of students there are, and then add up all the heights, and then divide by the number of students, right? So far, so good. Okay, that's the average, right? So far, so good.
Yeah.
How doable is that? Can you do that?
Yes and no.
Yeah, you could do that. How long would it take for you to do this?
Long.
Adrian? Long, right? How long? Maybe a couple of days, maybe weeks, right? Okay, because there are a lot of students out there, right? So sometimes, you know, this is what we call, later on we'll learn about what we call the sample size and sample and what we call population. What we're trying to do in statistics is measure the population average or whatever information that we want towards the population. But rather than using the whole population size, we want to actually gather information from a sample that represents the population. And that's what we're trying to do, okay? Differentiate, okay? So rather than, sometimes if not just Cerritos College students, say if we want to measure the height of males in the whole entire world, okay, it will become nearly impossible for us to actually gather the population male, right, height, okay, for us to go out and measure every single male height in the entire world, okay, nearly impossible. So what do? We gather sample, right? We gather samples from here, there, and so forth, and then actually approximate what we call the population average, okay? And that's what statistics is all about. Rather than using the population information, if we had a population information, what we call a parameter, then we don't need statistic, okay? So therefore, it's nearly impossible. A lot of the time, it's nearly impossible to get the information about the population. What we're trying to do is gather information from a sample to represent the population. Okay, so far so good. That's the overview of what statistics is going to be throughout the semester. Okay, so now let's look at module number 1. So you guys, when I see this, I'm going to be sharing this right here. Okay, so you guys read through all this, right? Yes. Okay. Unit number 1, module 1 through 5. We'll go through module 1, right? Data is messy, right? Learning objective, right? These are the notations that we're going to be using. These little icons that we see. We have the key phrase for vocabulary, new concepts here, question mark for important question, try, QR code. We have the check this out and so forth. These are just the icons to kind of indicate what these important features are, okay? All right, so let's look at the learning objective for module number 1. What do we know here? Okay, so what is data? We're going to be learning about data. What is observation unit? We talked about a little bit about observation unit, right? What is a variable in terms of statistic, not algebra, right? Okay. What are numerical and categorical variable? What are discrete and continuous variable? So we'll go into finer details about these information here. So we kind of glanced over the numerical, categorical, discrete, continuous, right? And so forth, right? So data here, okay? So statistic. First thing we need to do, if we are going to have a successful semester is to get on the same page with terminology, right? So if you're learning any type of language, and statistics is another type of language that we learn. Okay, math is another language, right? Okay, so therefore, what's the first thing that you do when you're learning a new language? What's the first thing that you do?
Study it.
Right.
Study it.
Definitions.
Of course, study it, but you need to know what?
The meanings.
Vocabulary, right? Just like, you know, when you talk to a doctor and they talk in their technical term, right? Do you understand what they're saying? I know they're speaking English, right? But you're like, I have no idea what you're talking about, unless you know the terminology, right? Or vocabulary, right? So that's what we're going to be learning here. We're going to be learning the terminology and definitions, right? Okay. So first look at, okay,
Yeah.
getting familiar with, you know, using statistical, right, words. Okay, so terminology, statistic in particular, as opposed to all math in general, use quite a few words that we have heard before, but have very particular meaning for us. Okay, it is imperative that you know the terminology early and well. Okay, so data, key phrase, data is information. We're collecting information. Okay, so data is factual information that we can use as basis for reasoning, discussion, or calculations. So therefore, what I will do is kind of, let's do here. Okay, highlight these things right here. Okay, I could highlight with this, right? Data is a factual, right? Discussion and calculation. Okay, in this class, we'll always want to discuss data in context, meaning always keeping meaning and application of information in mind. Statistic questions involve a sense of wonder, question what we can investigate about, but possibly never know the precise answer. Some example of these questions include, what is an average height of all women over the age of 18? Age of 18 who play basketball in high school, or if it's true that 42% of all men in the world's favorite color is blue. The answer, to answer these questions precisely, we would need to measure all women in country and survey every man in the entire world. Okay, not feasible. Okay, as you could see. Okay, so not feasible process by any means. Okay, it will be impossible, not impossible. It would take a tremendous amount of money and resources and time to actually collect these data. Okay, so rather than doing that, we use statistics, sample. Okay, we can instead get a fraction of information, fraction, which is stats. Okay, we can instead get a fraction of information and then use that to estimate what the answer is, or approximate, right? The information that we collect. More on how later, right? Is data. Okay, it is the foundation upon which we not only build our response to questions of wonder, but also formulate more questions from the result we obtain. Okay, so there are key words here that you probably want to highlight. Okay, okay, observation units. Okay, observation unit is an individual thing from which we collect data, right? The characteristic or information that we collect data is called the variable, okay? Since the information we will vary from one individual to the next, the variable of our data is most commonly referred to as X or Y, right? Other components, so let's look at here, okay? A study states that the average height of girls who play basketball in high school is 68.4 inches with a standard deviation of 2.8. 2.3 inches. Okay, what is your observational unit?
Basketball players. Girl basketball players.
Yeah, basketball players, right? Okay, so observational unit is girl who play basketball in high school, right? Observational unit. So what we're trying to do is there are correct answer and there's sort of correct answer, right? So the more specific, right, we are, right, with the observational unit, we want to get the better, right? So there are, I think what they did over here, good, best, and so forth, I think, right? There's observational units here that they categorize into ranks. So, you know, try to figure out the best observational unit, even though there are, right? It could be correct in a way, but you want to get a better answer to it, okay? So what is a variable in this case?
Height.
Of course, the height, right? Measurement of the height, okay? So any question on this unit, figuring out your observational units and your variables?
No.
No.
So far, so good? Okay.
Yeah.
And the keyword here,
I have a
if
question.
there are two variables. Yes.
Could you explain that bivariate data?
Bivariate?
Yeah, bivariate data.
The bivariate data. So, okay, so here, okay, bivariate data are, let's keep in mind that in any study, you have more than one observational unit and oftentimes more than one variable. So when you have more than one variables, right? And if you have exactly two variables, it's considered to be the bivariate data. Okay, so far so good. Okay, now let's actually look at.
Professor Yee, can I throw in an example real quick?
Yeah.
So an example of a bivariate data would be like, let's say we have some information about some cars. We're running a used car dealership and we're looking at a list of cars we want to buy. And it's broken down, it has two categorical variables to look at. The cars are broken down by whether they're sedans, trucks, or motorcycles, and by color, orange, green, gray. So every single line on that data sheet is going to give us two pieces of information. It could be a gray motorcycle, or an orange truck, or a purple sedan. So we would say that that information is bivariate data because it varies in two ways: type of car and color of car.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Right.
That makes sense.
Okay. And of course, you could have multivariate data and so forth, right? So there are, some of these examples are a little bit confusing, as you could see somewhere here, right? That deals with bivariate data, right? Okay, so look over these pretty carefully and ask questions with Denver and Stasia, right? When you get to those meetings there, right? All right, so I guess you guys went through some of this as well. You guys have any question on this right here? Identify the observational unit and the variables for what we call the contingency table. Okay, this is a 2x2 contingency table here, okay? So in the above two-way table, right, there is one observational unit and two variables. Okay, let's look at here. There are what? Speeding violation in last year, no speeding violation. So I could actually do this. No speeding violation in last year. Use cell phone while driving, does not use cell phone. Okay, what are they observing here?
The driver.
The driver, right? Okay. And what are the two variables they're looking at?
Cell phone usage while driving.
Yeah, cell phone usage or what?
Speeding
Driving either
violation.
under the what? No, so a speeding violation and no speeding violation, right? So speed, right?
Virtually variable, however the hell you say that word.
Excuse me?
Bivariate.
This is
So
that
these are, yeah, this is one example of a bivariate,
yeah,
right?
that one.
Okay, data. Okay, but this is a bit more confusing. I think Denver's example is actually a bit more clear than what we have here. Okay, but this is just one way to actually organize your data in what we call a two-way table. Okay. Later on, what we're going to be doing. So what we're going to be doing is learning just the terminology, right? Okay, and then we're going to slowly figure out. So the first thing that you will do in order to actually do statistic is to actually gather data, and we'll learn how to gather data and organize those data. Okay, and then organize what type of data that we're dealing with. Is it categorical? Is it numerical? And so forth. Okay, and then upon categorical or numerical, we actually organize it differently. Okay, once we organize it, we actually graph those organization. Okay, and of course, according to those type of data, we graph it also differently as well. Okay, so we'll look at those. Okay, by speaking of graph, this is going to be what we're going to be looking at. Some of the graph is going to be something like this. This is called the bar chart. Okay, identify the observation unit and the variables here. So you notice right here. Okay, so on the y-axis, gives you the what? Okay, percentage. Okay, on the x-axis, what did they give you here?
Students.
Students, right? Okay, so observational unit here. So just by looking at this bar chart, right? What do you look at? What are you looking at right here? What are we studying here?
Students.
Students,
age, internet transfer,
right?
and floor part-time.
Right. So if they're under 25, right, age groups, right, under 25, over 25, right? Because in, I guess, community colleges, right, we don't just have, right, okay, everything, not all students are just coming out from, coming from high school, right? But there are very mixed group of, individual that's attending Cerritos College or any community college, right? There are people who's actually trying to go back to school and trying to earn their degree and so forth. So they're categorizing into several categories in this case under what? Age 25, intend to transfer or not intend to transfer, full-time or what?
Part-time.
Professor Yi, can I interrupt you for
student.
just a moment?
Yeah.
Professor Conley just reached out to me, and she wants me to take over for you so that you can create another Zoom room. She needs something. She said, check your text. Check your text message. Communicating. Something urgent, I imagine.
Huh. Okay, so, okay, all right, so Denver will take over here. Okay, I'll be leaving. I need to create, okay, so he'll be taking over, right? And then I'll be leaving, so sure.
Yeah, no problem.
Got it.
If you just stop share your screen, I have all
Right.
these PDFs and stuff too, so I'll be
Okay.
happy to take over for a few moments if
So,
you handle that.
okay, so I'm gonna make you a host. And then I'll leave here. Okay, cool. Stasia is in there. Okay.
Thank you, Professor Yi.
Okay, all right.
See
All right,
ya.
I'll see you on, I guess, Wednesday, right?
I believe so.
Can you is there a quiz? Is there a quiz? I just want
Let me.
dashboard. I think quiz 1 is coming up pretty soon, right?
I think it's tomorrow.
tomorrow, right? So can you just remind them to do the quiz and so
Oh, absolutely. I'll make sure to go over all the pending assignments and all the modules and stuff before I let them take off. We have, I think, also a tutoring session, just me and Stasia right after this. So,
Okay,
right.
great.
So we should
All
have
right.
plenty of time.
Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you, Professor Yi. Okay, I know Professor Yi was saying I was having some microphone issues earlier. Can everyone hear me okay?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, guys, so I'm just going to pick up right where Professor Yi left off.
Oh, Denver, the only quiz that I saw was the Be Fit quiz. So I don't know if I was that one right there, but I didn't see any other quizzes. So,
Yeah, I believe you're right as far as Canvas goes. I did notice that on Quizlet, there's a quiz that they can take. So we'll check that. I don't know if it's like an
I
official assignment.
this group, Black Falcons, we were doing StatCrunch for such a long time trying to figure that out. We actually didn't get to Quizlet. So, yeah, if you wouldn't mind like going over Quizlet with us.
Sure, that's no problem. Okay, so if I'm not mistaken, we were over here, right? Okay. So again, this is just helping give us practice for identifying information in a table and kind of interpreting what the table is trying to tell us. So the observational unit was a student, of course. A dead giveaway for that is you can see that 100% is all students. So you can kind of think, well, the group is all students, right? And the three variables are basically what's represented here under the x-axis. And I think this is a good example of how that every time you look at a chart, make sure you slow down as much as possible and take your time to look at it and decide what it's trying to tell you. There's many ways to present data, and you don't want to get into the habit of doing things like, oh, everything on the y-axis is the variable, and everything on the x-axis is the observational unit or something like that. Unfortunately, there's no easy answers when it comes to analyzing tables and stuff. You have to really specifically look at things. So this table, for example, it can be a little confusing because the variables are actually categories and they're represented by these first three bars, these first three categories here under the first, the left three bars, and then the fourth one does not represent a variable. This fourth column is kind of like meant to trick you a little bit. So the three variables are whether or not the student is under the age of 25, whether or not the student intends to transfer, and like Davian was saying, whether the student is full-time or part-time. With categorical variables, sometimes when it tells you one piece of information, it's actually implying the opposite. So some categories, there may be multiple choices. So remember earlier we were talking about a car dealership. A color could be many, right? It could be orange, could be pink, could be blue, could be yellow. But some categorical variables, there's only two choices. So for example, this one on the left, under the age of 25, you're either under 25 or over 25. There is no 25, 30. It's not breaking down the information like that. So it's either you are under 25 or you're not. So that even though it has a number in it, the age 25, it's not a numerical variable. It's a categorical variable. So age is a numerical variable. Age group is a categorical variable. So these, I know this stuff seems tricky, and it is. And the only way to get better at it is just practice with it and look at the information as much as possible, right? So all three of these are categorical variables. Let's move on to the next one. So identify the observational unit and the variable. So you see here on the y-axis, it represents our measured height in inches. Anytime you see parentheses, read that as in. So here we have measured arm span in inches. So can anybody take a try here and tell me what is the observational unit and the variable or variables?
The unit is the observation unit is the student, and the variables are the height and arm span.
Absolutely. So this is another example of what we were talking about earlier, bivariate data. For every one observational unit, meaning every student, we have two pieces of information, right? We have their height and we have their arm span. So answers in the bar chart above, blah, blah, blah. Cool, got that. All right, so let's go through this next section here. Did you guys all get a chance to read through the text?
Yeah, a little bit.
Okay. I know Professor Yee style, he likes to read through the text. Personally, I don't feel like I learn very well that way. And since we all read through the text, what I would rather do is just kind of let's have a discussion about what this is really saying, right? So what is numerical and categorical variable? It's like we were talking about. Categorical variables are things that do not have a numerical meaning. So check this out. It does not have an objective numerical meaning. They're purely categories, right? Like we're talking about color of car. Is it a sedan? Is it a motorcycle? Favorite sport. Like if you ask people, is your favorite sport football or baseball? You can't turn that into a number. You can't say, well, if we divide the number of people who like baseball by the number of people who make football, that doesn't make any kind of sense, right? So this is, it seems really simple at first, but let me ask you, let me show you how it can really get tricky really quick. If I took down the jersey number of every Hall of Fame basketball player that's currently in the Hall of Fame, so the observational unit would be Hall of Fame basketball players, right? And the variable is going to be jersey number. Is their jersey number a categorical variable or a numerical variable?
Numerical.
Whoever said that, good job. That is exactly what you're supposed to think. You're supposed to think that that's a numerical variable because it has a number. But actually, guys, jersey number is a categorical variable. And this is what I really want like you guys to understand about this. The difference between categorical and numerical variables isn't always just that numerical variables have numbers. Just because it has a number, it could still be categorical variable. And the way you tell the difference is the way I think about it is, can you do math on that variable? So for example, horsepower in a car, that's numerical. If I tell you, oh, my car has 300 horsepower, and then I ask you, oh, what if I have 50% less horsepower? You could do math with that. You could be like, oh, well, then you have 150 horsepower. Or what if I said, oh, what if I subtracted 25 horsepower? That makes sense. You could have 275 horsepower. But let's see if that works with jersey numbers. Let's see, Kobe Bryant was number 8, right? And Shaquille O'Neal is number 34. So if we add Kobe Bryant's jersey number with Shaquille O'Neal's jersey number, do we end up with Charles Barkley?
No.
No.
You can't add people's jersey numbers, right? You can't divide people's jersey numbers. That doesn't make any kind of sense. You're not going to get, it's just going to be gibberish. You get what I'm saying? A jersey number, even though it's a number, it's just a category. It doesn't represent anything. Kobe Bryant being number 8 doesn't mean he takes the 8th most three-point shots, or that Shaquille O'Neal is 34 feet tall. The number means nothing. It's just like an arbitrary number. So that's the most trickiest kinds of examples. Sometimes you're going to run into categorical variables that have numbers, that are numbers, and you're going to think, oh, look, it's a number, numerical variable. That's true. Like I would say 75% of the time, if it has a number, it's a numerical variable. But occasionally, and I'm telling you, Professor Conley is going to throw this at you on the test. He's going to give you a categorical variable like jersey number. So if you're ever in doubt, the one quick mental check that I always do is, can I do math with this number? Can I divide 2 of these numbers? Can I add them? And if I do, does it represent anything? So you can add jersey numbers, but if you add Kobe's jersey number and Shaquille's jersey number, what does the answer give you?
Nothing.
Nothing. The result, number 42, that doesn't represent anything. It's just a random number, right? So that's one thing that's basically, if you can do that, if you can identify that jersey number is a categorical variable and understand why, then you have mastered this section. So remember, categorical variables, it's not, you can't do math with it. They have no objective numerical meaning. They're just purely categories, okay? And then numerical numbers, the opposite of that. It has a value. Like I said, horsepower, you could add or subtract horsepower. You could chop your horsepower in half, right? Like dividing it. You could double it, right? Like multiply. And that would still make sense. All right, and that's exactly what this thing is trying to tell you right here. Numbers do not make data numerical. Right here, they give you some other examples of numbers that are categorical variables. Zip code, like if my zip code is Norwalk, right? 90650, and then I move to La Mirada, 90638. If I subtract my new zip code from my old zip code, I get the answer 12. Does that number represent anything? Does that mean my new zip code is 12 miles from my old one? No, that's not how zip codes work. They don't represent miles from something, or they're just randomly picked numbers. Well, not random. They had a system when they were assigning those numbers, but that system has nothing to do with any kind of a number. It's just like categories, right? Area code, jersey number, boom, right there, the same one we were just talking about. So a jersey number of 10 doesn't mean you're twice as good as jersey number 5, right? Otherwise, all the all-stars would be 99, right? And all the rookies would be number 10. All right, so on to this next section, discrete versus continuous variables. So again, I'm not just gonna like read it out, or rather like let's us try to discuss and understand what does this mean. So as you can see from this little chart, there's two kinds of variables, categorical and numerical. Don't let this new section confuse you. If on a quiz or a test it asks you, how many kinds of variables are there? There's two, categorical and numerical. Now, under the umbrella of numerical, there's two types, discrete and continuous, but they're both numerical variables. These do not count as like new types of variables. You get what I'm saying? I know it's like technical definition-y type stuff, but I don't want you to miss a quiz question over something dumb like that. Okay, so variables, there's two kinds, categorical and numerical. And then within numerical, there's two types of numerical, discrete and continuous. So I'm sure you guys got a chance to read. Continuous is like, the way I think about it is like, continuous is like a normal number. Anything that, it could be anything, like distance. You could go a mile, a half mile, an eighth of a mile, 1/1,000,000th of a mile, and 1/1,000,000th of that, you could chop it up as much as you want, or you could have, for example, 1.3 miles. A discrete variable is something that, because of the nature of the number that you're measuring, you cannot have a fraction. That's how I think about it, right? Like everybody always uses babies as an example. You can't have a half a baby. You either have 2 kids or 3 kids. You don't have 2.5 kids. Now, don't let this confuse you. Sometimes you'll see data from a textbook and it'll be like the average American has 2.5 children. But that's not telling you that one person has 2.5 kids. That's telling you that if you add up all the families and all the kids and you divide it, that's the number you get. But it's impossible to have like a fraction of it, right? So let's see what the examples they give us here. Super Bowl wins, right? Perfect. I think wins and losses is an okay example. Sometimes it can be confusing because in some sports we have draw, right? Like in soccer, a draw gives you 1 point, a win gives you 3 points, a loss gives you 0 points. So I don't think that's a great example. But in a sport where there is no draw, like I think football, there's no tie, right? You have to play OT until somebody wins, right?
No, unless like
It's a tie once in a while.
yeah.
But it has to be like you have to have already done double overtime, and there's all kinds of special rules, right?
No,
Yeah.
keep going after a while. I mean, if it's in the Super Bowl, then you have no choice but to keep going because it can be a draw in the Super Bowl.
I honestly
Excellent.
don't know when they call ties.
When
It's so
regular
rare.
season, I think they only go like they get one try and then there.
That makes perfect sense then. That's why specifically it says Super Bowl wins and not football wins.
Yeah.
So I guess like in a regular season, you could have a tie, but in the Super Bowl, they do not allow it. You got to keep,
Yeah.
like somebody said, you got to keep going until somebody wins.
Yep. One.
So you
Yeah,
cannot
you
have a
right.
half of a Super Bowl win. You could only have 2 Super Bowl wins or 3. You cannot have 2.5. So it on the quizzes and tests, when it gives you an example, it'll be like a number of donuts in a box. That's a bad example because you could chop up a donut, right? So for me, if you ask me, are number of donuts discrete or continuous? I would say it's continuous because you could chop up a donut, right? You
Right.
could have 2.5 donuts. But anything that you can't break it up smaller, that's going to be discrete. Cool. So that's pretty much that. If you guys would like this, see this, I don't think they're actually collecting this worksheet, but working this worksheet will really help give you the practice that you need to succeed. And remember, mathematics is exactly like sports. Whoever practices the most is going to win. End of story. LeBron wins championships because he practiced more than anybody else. There's no other way around it. So, since actually, Stasia, what time is this section supposed to end?
This section ends at 11, and then we go into, it just says ye Zoom room 1 again. So, I mean, we're already all here, and I doubt that it's a different room, so we're probably just going to stay in here. So I guess this would have been when Professor Yi was leaving.
Okay. So if it's cool with everybody, I'm gonna call the end of the class at this point. So the next session is still mandatory with us for this class, right, Stasia? Okay. So what I'm gonna do, guys, if it's cool with you guys have been doing awesome so far, a lot of engagement.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have us all take a 15-minute break. So what I would like you guys to do before you go, practice using the chat and everything the correct way. So go into the chat and put up your little coffee mug. You guys know how to do that? So let me stop my share. I'll show you
Go
what I do.
to participants. So it's I don't know why they don't have it on like through the chat, but you have to do it through participants. So you click on participants, and then this little window shows up with the list of everybody, and then you can see like Denver has his coffee mug up. You go to
More.
it's under more. Yeah.
Cool. So if you guys could all put up your coffee mugs and take a 15, come back at 11:10, and we're gonna go through this worksheet, have a couple more questions, and then we'll probably hopefully we'll finish up a few minutes early, and by 11:45 or something like that, you guys will be good to go. All right. You guys are doing great so far. Take a break, and the only thing when you come back, please turn your coffee cup off. That's how I know you're back.
Yeah.
Thanks, guys.
All right, thank you.
Niggas chilling. This class shit crazy. This shit boring, fool.
Davian, is that you on the iPhone?
Nah, that's me, Henry.
Henry, mute yourself.
No, the person whose name is listed. I see you, Henry. Your name is listed as Henry Sparks.
Yeah.
I think that's
Oh,
Davian,
yeah.
whose name
That
is
was
listed as
me.
iPhone.
Yeah,
Oh, dude, yeah.
I just changed it right now.
Cool. Thank you. All right, I'm gonna give everybody a couple quick minutes. Don't worry, guys. We're almost done. I'll get you guys out of here early today. All right, we'll give it one more minute. Let's make sure we all have our cameras on and our coffee cups off. All right, guys, we don't got time. We got to go. So I want to thank you guys for paying attention. I know it's hard to do mathematics early in the morning from the house, webcam and everything. So thanks a lot for that. Now I would just ask you guys to give me another 30 minutes of strong, focused attention, and we'll get through this. We're doing good. I'll get you guys out at 11:45, 5 minutes early. Not only that, at 11:40, we'll stop to do our MVP spins and our takeaways. So we'll have a wind down, right? So just give me 30 minutes more, tight attention, and we'll get you guys prepared to do well on this next exam, okay? So returning to what we were doing. Well, actually, Stasia, you said that this group still needs to go through the StatCrunch registration process, right?
So I believe a few students still needed to get onto StatCrunch because Marie asked me if Jacob, Alex, Andy, or Henry got into StatCrunch, probably because you guys aren't in the Sim 2020 group. That's probably how she got that. Also, it was the Quizlets. It was the Quizlets that we hadn't gotten through. Yeah.
Okay, cool. So all you guys, just make sure that all you guys are registered with StatCrunch, and that once you're registered, you join the Sim 2020 group.
I have
So, sorry,
code.
go ahead.
I have the access code. I realized that on our little Black Falcons group chat that I created over at orientation, which I can add you into right now, I left out an S. So if you guys are having a tough time with the
That happened because I had went to it after and it said 3 S's. That's cool though. I got into it.
Yeah, same.
all right, so then you guys did. So then everybody just, I guess you guys just have to be in the Sim 2020 group. Yeah, but then it was Quizlet stuff that we hadn't gone over.
Cool. So just in case anybody needs it, I threw it one more time into the group chat, the registration code, just in case you guys need that. And then I assume you guys all know how to sign up for the group. Make sure you do that, or you'll keep popping up as not having a StatCrunch account, even though you have it. You're like, I already signed up. Make sure you get in that group. Now, as far as the Quizlet stuff goes, I will definitely show you guys how to get started on that. So to go into Quizlet, you could just open up a new Google page and go to like Quizlet.
What if you already have a Quizlets account?
Perfect. You could just go ahead and use that one.
All right.
So I'm trying to remember how you get into the group. So if you go to join or create a class, you see on the left-hand side here, I'm already signed up, but under your tab, it'll say classes. There'll be an option join or create a class. So if you just go here and then you search Sim online, it'll pop up right away. Like this first one here, SIM Online 2020. You see with 28 members, you're gonna click request to join. And then if there is a pop-up, just put in your full regular name, like Sarah Parra, Jacob Martinez, Henry Sparks, whatever. Just put in that and hit request. But I think it just auto lets you join. And then so once you're in there, you can click on the class here on your left side. It'll populate here, the like members you're in. And if you click sets, you could either click sets or it pops up right here. Like right now, there's only a module 1 vocabulary, but later there'll be other ones. If you click on it, it always asks you back, whatever. This is where you start. You start by just doing the flashcards, right? And when you click on it, it flips over. You can see what's on the other side. You want to go through this and get, once you're ready for it, you want to go to play match. And then it'll give you a game like this. So you have to match it up. You know, what is this? That one. You match up the question with the answer.
How do you get to that again?
So that one, once you're in the group,
We have to do the match thing.
yeah, you're supposed to actually keep going on it until you get to the master. It'll show you. So you click here, but this stuff is not like graded for points. This is like to help prepare you. You're supposed to do it, but like, it's not something, I don't think she like keeps track of it for points.
Right.
So it's just like for your benefit. It's really quick, guys. So check it out. Once you're logged in and once you've joined, it's very similar to StackCrunch. You notice it in that you have to join the group, but this time instead of joining the group, you join a class, and it's the same thing. Just search for Sim Online. So once you have it, you click on it, like on the left side here, to pull up this page, and then from here, it'll be right here, Module 1 vocabulary.
Gotcha.
And now, like later, there'll be other sets like Module 2, Module 3, and then so depending where you need to work on. Like, for example, like let's say you're doing bad on a quiz or something, Professor Yi may be like, hey, you know, I'm giving you a, forgot what they're called, a coaching, was that it, Stasia? Or a tutor opportunity, what was it called? I forget.
Assist?
Hey, Henry.
Okay.
Yeah, an assist. So they'll probably help, Professor Yi will be like, oh, I'm gonna give you an assist. You need to go work on your Module 2 vocabulary. So then you will log into your Quizlet, go onto the left side, click the class, and then pick the Module 2. And then under here on the left, these are all your ways to study. And then once you've like feel good on study, then you do play. You know what I'm saying? But this one, don't worry about the test on this one, because this was not designed to be a test one, because some of them, like you're not gonna memorize this, dude. You get what I'm saying? Like word for word, don't do that. That's not what we're trying to do here. You just need to understand that these are examples of numerical variables. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But if you do the test, it's gonna ask you to actually like type in from scratch what the answers are. So don't do that one. Trust me, I already been through this material a lot. What you wanna do is go through flashcards. If you click on flashcards, it'll pull you here, as you can see. And then you see, when you click on it, it'll read it out loud to you. You click down here, it'll flip it back over for you. And then you just go through them. And you see my progress on the left here, 10 out of 22. And once you go through them, it'll say, nice work, you just studied this amount. And it logs it so that the professor could see that you're doing your work. Like, trust me, Professor Conley will be checking stuff like this. Like, if you're on the border with your grade and stuff, she's gonna go back and check, like, how did this guy or girl spend any time on Quizlet, you know, etc. So once you've gone through that a few times, do the match game. The match game is good. It'll pop up stuff like this. So, you know, is Peregrine a falcon? Yes. X or Y. That's the variable of our data is most commonly referred to as one of these letters. And once you finish, it'll log your time. And then whoever has the best time, they get like extra MVP points. So let me just finish this one real quick. That's temperature, right? You need to, when a student steps away from the screen, they can post the coffee cup to denote they need a break. See? And it'll give you your score. So right now, unfortunately, I'm still in the lead, but I don't count. So one of you guys needs to beat me, all right? 25 seconds. But yeah, as you can see, other people started playing. And once this module closes, whoever's at the top here gets extra MVP spin points.
Damn, I finished in 55 seconds.
You just got to keep practicing it. The more you do it, that's why I like Quizlet, because my philosophy when it comes to studying and stuff is repetition. The more you practice, the better you're going to get at it. So keep doing it. Trust me, before you know, you'll have like 10 seconds. Cool. So that pretty much finishes that up. Did anybody have any questions about Quizlet?
No, sir.
All right, very good, sir. Then we'll go ahead and go back and finish this worksheet. And then once we're done, I will have Stasia take over to do the MVP points takeaways. Did you have something, Stasia?
Yeah, sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. I just wanted to say that I entirely forgot what I was going to say. I like got sidetracked about the fact that I interrupted you and I like forgot what I was going to say. Sorry.
Oh, don't worry. Don't
Oh,
worry. Trust
I
me.
remember. I was just going to paste the link for how to join the Quizlet. That was it. Sorry.
Oh, yeah. If you could post that in the group chat, that would definitely help.
I was just gonna say the link is in our modules too. If you just press Quizlet, it'll pop up. You press one of the things and it'll take you straight there.
Exactly. I was showing you guys like if you just go from like scratch from any web browser, but if you click the link, it'll take you exactly to that definition set. But keep in mind when you click on that link, you still want to log in, because if you don't log in, and let's say you got like 12 seconds on that matching game, it doesn't know who you are, so it doesn't record your score. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah, I got 36
So make sure you log in. Even if you just click the link directly from Canvas, make sure you still log in to Quizlet once you're there. Cool. So we're just going to finish up this worksheet here, guys. So again, this worksheet, if you're not sure where it's at, this is the PDF of module 1. So I got to this from Canvas, right? And then at the very, very end is this worksheet. So I'm going to try using OneNote, guys. Just be patient with me. I'm a little bit older. I'm not super good with OneNote and all the super modern stuff, but I will do my best, right? My writing's going to be hard to read. End of story. All right. So nutrition versus academic performance. So based on the table below, and this is a really good exercise, guys. As we're going through this, this is supposed to be challenging. So I just want to throw that out there. If the answers don't seem obvious to you, that's okay. This worksheet is meant to give you practice and help you develop the skills that you need to do well in the rest of the course, right? And to be able to read newspapers and stuff like that have data organized in interesting ways like this. So on the top here, we have nutritional status, poor, adequate, excellent. On the left, we have academic performance, below, average, above average. All right. So can anybody take a guess? What's the observational unit here? What do you guys think?
Academic performance.
The students.
Who said students?
Me.
Excellent. Well, me, whoever you are, you did great.
Davion.
Okay, great job, Davian. This is a very confusing one, and I'm not surprised why you guys might have thought it was nutritional status or academic performance. This is an example of when you have to like really look at the data. Every bar graph and every chart you look at is different. They're not always going to follow patterns where like, oh, the observational unit is here and the variable is here. So in this example, you have to kind of like interpret and realize that they're talking about students. It doesn't even say student anywhere here. You guys notice that? It doesn't say student anywhere, but the observational unit is a student. We're talking about the nutritional status or academic performance of a group of students. All right. And I'll give you guys a clue. This is bivariate data. So what are the variable or variables? Anybody?
Nutritional status and academic performance.
Excellent. Nutritional status and academic performance. So it has two variables, all right? And one thing I want you guys to notice is as you go to the right, there'll be a total here, and this represents this 200 represents all the students that had below average academic performance. 610, the average performance. 190, above average. And notice the same thing happens in the columns. For nutritional status, all the poor nutritional status is total is 230. Adequate nutritional status total 635. Okay. This is very important because this is you're gonna use. You have to like understand that to be able to answer these questions. So the first question: what percentage of students that perform below average academically have poor nutrition? So whenever we're answering a question like this, we're looking for a percentage. So it's always going to be something out of something else, right? So we're trying to see
70.
what percentage of students that perform below average academically have poor nutrition. So this is very tricky, guys. And you guys, this is what we're trying to do here. Practice converting this question, like what number do I put on the top? What number do I put on the bottom? This is going to be like the trick to this entire worksheet. So I'll give you an example. As the first one, I'll help you guys out with this. What percentage of students that perform below average have poor nutrition? So they're asking us, out of this group, the group of students that perform below average, what percentage have poor nutrition? So what they really want to know is how many have poor nutrition out of the group that perform below average?
200.
70 over 200.
35%.
That's what I got too. I actually did these yesterday. I didn't even know if we were supposed to, but I thought it was a part of the
Excellent.
module.
Excellent. I'm very impressed that you guys are on top of your work. And number one, you guys are doing homework on Sunday, so awesome. And then number two, she didn't directly ask you to do this, so good. So and also the answers you're throwing out were correct. It is 70 out of 200. And why is that? For those of us that didn't do it already, they're asking us, what percentage had poor nutrition out of the group that was below average? So the total of the below average is 200. So this is going to be 70 students out of 200.
You asked for the nutrition first, right?
Well, it's asking of the group that have performed below average, what percentage have poor nutrition? So I know what you might be thinking is like, oh, whichever one is asking first goes on top, or whichever one asks second go on bottom. Unfortunately, it doesn't work that way. They could easily word the question in a slightly different way, and then it would flip. You get what I'm saying? So it's not always going to be like the first one that they mentioned divided by the second, or vice versa. You gotta read carefully the question every single time. So it's asking us, what percentage of students that perform below average have poor nutrition? So that's how you got to know, like, oh, we want to know out of that group, how many have poor nutrition. So we put the number that have poor nutrition out of the total. Hold on, let me move my little cursor thing. Okay, and that's going to equal 0.35, right?
Yeah.
For those of you guys that worked it on your calculator. Now, for those of us that don't have too much experience working with percentages, how do you convert this into a percentage? In one step, you just multiply by 100%. Okay, and this will give us 35%, right? Okay. So here in a new one, I'm just going to write our answer because this is going to come up in just a second. Okay, so B, what percentage of students that perform average academically have poor nutrition? So same exact thing. We're trying to say of the students that perform average academically, so what's that total?
190.
The total of students that perform average academically.
Oh, 610.
Very good. And of that, which ones have poor nutrition? What's that number?
130.
30.
130.
Very good. As somebody that already did this, what number does that give us?
21.
I got 21.3.
Excellent.
Oh.
All right, I know you guys are tired. I'm gonna try to get this done as soon as possible, but I want to save time for the last question. That's the one that matters. What percentage of students that perform above average poor nutrition? So again, what's the total number? Out of what?
190.
190.
190 out of, well,
Absolutely.
30 out of 190.
30 out of 190. And what is the total? What does that equal?
15.7%.
15.7.
15.7?
Yeah.
All right. So how about D? Can you conclude that poor nutrition affects academic performance? This is the one that I want you guys to focus on. In order to answer this question, you have to notice two patterns going on with the data, okay? Number one, what is the pattern going on with the question? Notice that the question, it's always asking you what percentage have poor nutrition. Check it out. What percentage of below average students have poor nutrition? What percentage of average students have poor nutrition? What percentage of above average students have poor nutrition? So it's always asking you what percentage have poor nutrition. And the thing that's changing is the academic performance. It's going up, right? It goes from below average to above average, right?
Yeah.
And then the second thing you need to notice is what's happening with the percentage. It starts at 35,
It's getting
then
lower and
21.
lower.
Who said that? Well, whoever, it doesn't matter. Exactly. It's going down. 35, 21, 15. So let's put those two facts together. So you're telling me that as academic performance goes up, percentage that have poor nutrition goes down, right? That's what's happening. As I'm moving the group up from below average to above average, the percentage that have poor nutrition is going down from 35% of the below average to 21% of the average students have poor nutrition to 15% of the above average students. So can we conclude that poor nutrition affects academic performance? What do you guys think?
Yeah.
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 Yeah, absolutely. Because did you notice that the students that perform better, they were way more likely to have good, at least okay nutrition, to not have poor nutrition, right?
Yeah.
The students that were performing below average, 35% of them had poor nutrition. So that's what the reason I wanted to focus on that, guys, is because all these formulas and stuff, they're all fine and dandy, but this class is going to teach you the skills that you need, that you're really going to need in life. When billionaires pass tax laws that keep taxes low for them and high for us down here on the bottom, how do they do it? They do it by presenting numbers to us that most people can't understand because they don't know how to read statistics. That's how this kind of stuff happens, guys. So if we want to improve our situation, we have to educate ourselves and learn how to interpret information so that we're not subject to bad contracts. You're not going to go out and sign a bad car loan. You're going to understand, tax codes and stuff like this, because it's right out there in the open if you have the skills to be able to understand the information. So that's why I want to focus on D. It's cool to know what divide what by what, but to understand what the numbers are trying to tell you about the world we live in. You know what I'm saying? These are just numbers, 35, 21, 15, whatever. But if you know what you're doing, they're telling you, hey, make sure your kids have good nutrition. That's basically what this is saying, isn't it? This whole worksheet is just trying to tell you, make sure that your kids have good nutrition if you want them to succeed academically. But if you don't have the ability to look at the pattern of how the numbers are changing, you're not gonna get that conclusion. So focus on the big picture too, guys. Don't get lost in just the numbers, okay? So great job. I'm gonna turn it over to Stasia to give away the MVP spin points, and after she does that, I would like each of you guys to unmute yourselves and just give the group one takeaway that you had, and then we'll call it a day at 11:40. Okay? Great job, guys.
Thank you.
Stasia, go ahead.
Okay. All right. Cool. So let me just get StatCrunch up. Really, it's already here. All right. I'm so glad I already did that. All right, and then you guys are over here. Okay. So we actually have a bunch of points to do today. So we've got, okay, so according to my notes that I have, we're gonna do 2 spins for Davion, a spin for Adrian, a spin for Jacob, a spin for Alex, and then a spin for Sarah, even though Sarah is not in this group. You said you're in the teal kestrels, right?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. All right,
You
so
have access to modify all the sim sheets though, right, Stasia?
yeah,
So if you get a chance, if you could go in and put hers in for her group too.
yeah, I will do that. Thank you. Okay, so let's do spin the first 2 spins for Davion. So we got 2 points and then 3 points for, okay. And this one is for Adrian. 2 points. And then this one is for Jacob. This is what Angie gave you from orientation. And you get 3 points. And then we have one more for Alex. Okay. You get 3 points. All right, word. So it's a good, oh, and then Sarah, sorry. This is not for the Black Falcons. All right, you get 1 point, Sarah. So the reason why either I or Angie picked you guys for points was because you guys were showing exemplary participation, and I appreciated the way that you were contributing to our class, and I'm just like really impressed by everybody, and yeah, you guys did a great job today.
Thank you, Stasia. Awesome job.
Thank you.
So anybody, whoever would like to go first, as soon as you unmute yourself and give us a takeaway, as soon as we're all done, we'll call it a day, guys.
Oh, Denver, I'm gonna copy this entire chat over into a Google Doc. I don't know if anybody needs it, but I'm just recording it. So
Yeah, that would be awesome because there's some important links for them for Quizlet and the StatCrunch registration.
yeah.
If you guys want, I know we're all new. I'll just go down the list to make it easier. Mr. Sparks, can you give us one takeaway you had?
One takeaway.
Yeah, anything. It could be about the math, anything at all.
I don't know. Everything was pretty straightforward. Just listening, so it was all coming to me after a while. Just sitting there reading it over and over again, you would get it.
Awesome. Practice is a key to success, so I appreciate you paying attention. Even though you read it before, read it again. Thank you. Miss Para?
Well, first off, I'd like to say thank you guys for letting me join, because I know it's like not my group. And I know it's kind of confusing in the beginning as to why I was here, but like, thanks for letting me like join and sit in your class. But a takeaway I had was probably just to remember the different types of variables. Like, even though there's only 2, like under numerical variables, there's discrete and continuous. I think that was important.
Absolutely. There's 2
Yeah.
kinds of variables, and then under numerical, there's 2 subcategories. That's how you want to think about it. Thank you. Excellent. Mr. Rodriguez?
Yeah, like Sarah said, when I was reading by myself, I thought discrete and continuous were separately some separate variables, but now that we went over it, I know that they're just under numerical, so they're part of that. So now I understand it.
Awesome. Thank you. Exactly. They're types of numerical variables.
Yeah.
Excellent point for that. Mr. Martinez?
Just different ways to study in Quizlet. Pretty much everything else is pretty much just straightforward.
Awesome. Yeah, we went over a couple ways to study on Quizlet, doing the matching games, just reading the text, whatever works for you as an individual. Let's see. How about Mr. Manzo?
I like the way you made it seem like for the numerical and categorical. I just like the way like sometimes it's going to be difficult and you're gonna have to figure it out. So
Awesome. Yeah, definitely. It's going to be challenging, but hopefully I gave you guys some little tools that when you're in doubt, you could think back to that example, try to work through it. Don't give up, right? Mr. Peralta?
The thing that helped out was like the examples that you gave, like the bivariate variable was really helpful. So thank you
Well,
for that.
yeah, I know sometimes professors, they get so used to doing the same material, they run through some things. For those of us that are still learning, it's like, whoa, what does that mean? So thank you for that. Mr. Enciso Rojas?
Yeah, I thought it helped to do some of the stuff in the module before, and it was easier to understand once we saw it today in the lecture. And I also think that it's cool to put into perspective as to like how it applies to all these numbers apply to stuff in real life.
Yeah, definitely. I want to thank you guys again, all the people that had worked on the worksheet before, made working and collaborating on it awesome. So we're at 11:40. I promised I'll let you guys go at that time. I always keep my promises. Thank you guys for paying attention. Awesome group, all right? And thank you, Stasia, for your awesome work. You guys are free to go. Have a great day. Make sure you work on the
Likewise.
modules and check everything on there closely, okay, guys?
Thanks.
All right.
Thank you.
You are awesome at explaining. I really, really love the way that you explain numerical versus categorical. Like, I wish you were my teacher in high school. Needed that.
Thank you.
I got one question.
A full-time job does sound pretty good.
Are you going to be a professor?
No, I just want to be a software engineer.
Oh, okay, cool. So you're done with like school and all that?
Oh no, I just finished at Cerritos College. Like I said, I'm up here with you guys. I just finished up. I just finished my third associate's degree in May, and then now I'm transferring to a 4-year to UCLA as a computer science major.
Awesome. Nice. I'm glad you're here.
Thank you.
I got a question.
Sure.
So none of my so as I was going through the module and all the work, it didn't have mark is done anywhere. So there's not any checks on mine, and I don't know how to get that.
For
up.
some of them, they don't. They like mark as done as you do them. If you would like, you could share your screen. If you don't mind, it's up to you. If you could share your screen and I could take a look at it and maybe see, try to figure out what's going on.
All right, I'll try to do that now.
I had the same question, and then I had a question as to whether it was graded or not, because there was a part where there was a video, and you have to view a certain number of slides, and I accidentally clicked next before viewing the slides, so it gave me a grade of like a 0. So it showed some percent of where I had like 16% on the assignment, or I got an email where it said 0 out of 5 points. So I want to make sure, see if I can get the points for that.
Yeah, I think I know exactly which one you're talking about. I think that one does have like some slides in it that you need to actually like, it'll give you like a little mini quiz as you're going through the slides. You know what I mean?
Right.
It'll be like, oh, this slide was about that. Which of these, F stands for focus, right? And put away your telephone and whatever. All
that
kind of stuff.
that was in the orientation. I'm talking about the module, the first module 1. It's like
Yeah.
a long video.
Yeah, for sure. But it's like the same thing. It'll be like, oh, what is discrete and numerical? And it goes through everything we just went through. But every couple slides, it'll have like a question. So since it got marked 0, what I would do is go ahead and go back to it and see if it'll allow you to start it from the beginning and go through and do it. Meanwhile, I'm going to contact Professor Conley and let her know that several of you guys had trouble going through it and like it marked it as done and it didn't let you do it. So hopefully she could reopen it to allow you, or maybe make a grading exception, drop it. I don't know. That's up to her. So I can't make guarantees on that. But what I would advise is, if you can, go back and try to do it. And then hopefully she'll just like put it so your second try becomes your grade. And then that way, when I present to her the argument, like, hey, they tried to do it, but they couldn't, she'll be able to see that. Oh, look, hey, yeah, they did try it, and they even tried to go back. So you get what I'm saying? Like, make your best argument to get those points back.
Okay.
Cool. So I'll email her as soon as this is done. I'm gonna email her about that.
So I don't know if you can see my screen or how to share it exactly from the computer, but it only has a green check for objectives and mantra, which has a video and then the ed puzzle login.
Well, I'll tell you what, I can't see that too closely. What I'll do is I'll share my screen and we'll go through mine and see if something similar is going on. All right, let's see. So first, let's get into our section with Professor Yee. All right, and let's see. It's not this
Yeah.
stuff, right? This was like the orientation stuff, right?
Yeah, that's the orientation.
You're cool on that. It's this stuff, right?
Yeah, that right there. And the only thing that has a green check is next to complete all items has a green check, and then it has a green check at module 1, objectives and mantra.
All right.
Same here.
Cool. Well,
Yeah,
let me see. Let's try to go through it on mine and see what happens. That way I could, if there's something wrong, at least I could report exactly what's going on to her.
That I haven't done yet. I haven't looked at that video yet.
This is the one I was talking about.
Yeah, that's due tomorrow.
So basically, like you accidentally clicked next before it was done, basically, right?
Yeah.
Cool, cool.
But then I went back and finished the whole video.
Okay, cool.
I did that too, but it stopped at the like those questions.
For
Yeah,
this
like-
one, on this slide, I think for it to give you credit on this one, you actually have to finish it. You actually have to do this one. Here.
Yeah, I did that and made my little video. But you see where it has immerse reader at the top a little bit?
Yeah, right
During
here.
orientation, yeah, next to that, it usually had Marcus done. But on
Yeah, I
this
remember
module,
that.
It doesn't. Yeah.
And so you did complete all this video thing, and then when you click and you
Yeah.
click through it, but it never marked it as done.
Yeah, nah. I even took screenshots of it and sent it to Ms. Conley with the work done so that she see like I did it just in case it didn't have a green
Right,
check when
cool.
she checked.
And I actually went through these earlier too, and I actually did this one here too. So let's see. All right, and then I clicked this. This was the link that they were talking about earlier, guys. How to get directly to the Quizlet without like opening a new web browser. You just click on this link. And see, and it takes you directly to module 1 vocabulary. Then you play match. All right. All right, so let's see. All right, yep, and then we all watched that, right?
And then I
How to
watched
do
the
dice
video.
applet.
And it takes you back to orientation. That's exactly what it did to me.
And then if we go back to modules, yep, same thing. I have the exact same. This is exactly what's going on with yours, right? You only got one green check mark.
Yep.
And it was right here under this one too, right?
Yeah.
Same exact situation. All right, cool. So at least now we have documented the problem, so I can like be more specific when I let her know. And she has one of the other professors I think is in charge of like actually setting up Canvas and all that. So I will let her know. Hopefully she gets it done. But as long as you guys have done all that, you know, we'll take care of it and make sure you guys got your points. And we'll make sure we note that on today's worksheet. Okay, so you guys are good. Just make sure that you have it done and you understand the material, most important, and you're good. Just wait for the next module to come up. Completed all that.
All right, thank you.
You're very welcome. Thanks for showing me that, guys.
No problem.
Have I joined the group on StatCrunch?
Cool. Let me show you how to do that. So let's open up StatCrunch. All right, I'll go ahead and sign in.
Right, sorry to interrupt. We can leave now, right?
Yeah, absolutely. This is all
okay,
optional
okay.
stuff, all this extra stuff here.
All right. Have a nice day.
You too. Thank you for showing up today. Great job.
Bye, guys. Thank you.
Take it easy.
Bye, sir.
Stasia, you could feel free to take off whenever you want. Just I'm not super familiar with all the details of the program. You're gonna update like their little sheet that's on the
Yeah, I'm
Google
doing
Drive,
that
right?
now, actually. Yeah. Like
Okay,
I
cool.
write it on my iPad and then I type it on the Google sheet.
Cool. Thank you. So I don't have to do anything, right?
No,
As far as
I
that stuff
think
goes.
you're good. I think you're good.
Okay, cool. And you did you also get the MVP points with okay, and you're gonna take care of putting that in because I don't know how to do it. All right,
Yep. I
awesome.
gotta
Thank
type
you.
everything up and then I'm good. So I'll see you.
Cool. All right. So Mr. Martinez, to finish answering your question, once you're logged in, you should see your username in the upper right corner here in gray, right? You see how mine Denver B19? So you're gonna go to groups. Once you're in the group, you could click on my groups to get there. But since you're not in the group yet, you're gonna go to groups and you're gonna search under here, type Sim 2020. And this will pop up. You're not done yet. When you're at this screen, you need to physically click on it, and you see where my green button says leave group.
Yeah.
For you, instead, it will say join group or
Request to
request to
join.
join group. Very important. When you click that link, don't just click send. It's going to open up a text box, okay? And in that text box, you need to write your first and last name exactly as it appears on your college roster. So Jacob Martinez, capital letter, Alex Rodriguez, capital letter, super standard legal name. Because she's going to, what that does is send a request to Professor Conley. And then she's going to see that name that you wrote in, and she's going to check her roster. Oh, okay, Jacob Martinez, yep. And then she'll approve. If you don't put your name in or you misspell your name, she's going to deny your request and you won't get into the group. So that's why I'm being so particular about it. So just request group, put your name, submit, and then it's not going to happen right away. Give it like a day or two.
All right.
And then, because she has to go through and manually approve you.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Thank you.
Have a good day.
Wait,
You too, guys. Thank you.
wait, I have a question. I already
Sure.
did that, but she said that I still haven't done it. See, I'm already in the group.
And your username under StackCrunch, what is it?
I have it as Andy per 4.
Okay. And she when was the last time she contacted you regarding that it wasn't done?
Well, I think didn't she say right now that I was part of the group? I think she mentioned my name.
She did. When was it that you completed this? Was it
The
like last
day of.
week?
Yeah.
I'm sorry?
Yeah, the day we registered. I went after the meeting.
Okay. I will hold on, let me write this down. Okay, and then the Canvas modules. Okay, so I'm going to email her about 2 things. The Canvas module's not working, and Andrew Peralta StackCrunch has been verified. Okay,
Yeah.
so I'll take care of
Andy
that for you.
Peralta, yeah. All right.
Andy
Thank
Peralta.
you.
Okay.
All right. Thank you so much.
Yeah, no worries. Give it a couple days, okay?
All right. Thank you. Bye.
All right, no problem. Have a good one.
Thank you too.
Awesome. I think I'm all set. Stacey, I just have to email Professor about those 2 things. Was there anything else you needed from me?
No, I think I'm good. I just copied and pasted this whole chat, and then what's your email so I can share that with you on that Google Drive, just so you're a part of it.
Gotta stop sharing.
Where's my one? Oh, here we are.
Cool. It's should be in the chat box now.
Okay, Denver B19 makes sense. Okay, cool. All right, I'll add you into that right now. All right, so we're good. We're together on Thursday, right? Not Wednesday.
I haven't looked at the schedule. I know tomorrow I have like a 3-hour afternoon one with just the tutor, just like me and the 2 of the other tutors.
Right.
So I haven't looked on Wednesday, but I think they have us matched up in most of the sections.
Yeah, okay. On this Thursday, I know we wrap up at 2 o'clock, or at least I know on mine I wrap up at 2. But I have like a online telehealth doctor's appointment at 1:45. So I just got to dip 15 minutes early.
Cool. So on that day, if you and that session that you have to dip early for, it's not a professor's Zoom, it's one of just yours and mine's.
I don't know.
Okay. If it's the professor's, then you have to talk to him, of course. But if it's just yours and mine, just remind me at the start of the session. And what I'll do is I'll make sure that we do all the like stuff that you need for the worksheet early. That way, when you leave at 1:45, you already have everything you need. And then the last 15 minutes, I'll just do stuff that you wouldn't have to record anyways.
Okay, perfect.
But remind me, because I will forget.
I got
like
you.
on that day, like, hey, Denver, I'm taking it at 1:45. Help make sure I do the worksheet before.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Yeah.
Cool.
Okay, cool.
All right, no problem. See you then.
Yeah.